Most people don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because they surrender their power too soon. They quit right before the breakthrough. They stop trying just before something starts working. They choose comfort over commitment, excuses over effort, doubt over action. I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, how many goals, dreams, and opportunities have slipped through your fingers, not because they were impossible, but because you gave up too early? You see, life will always test your commitment to the things you say you want. Dreams are not handed out like free samples. They are earned through persistence, through resilience, through an unshakable belief that you will not leave this world wondering what if. Stop giving up so easy. You say you want success, but the first time it gets uncomfortable, you retreat. You say you want a better body, but after 2 weeks of effort, you convince yourself that it's too hard or nothing is working. You say you want financial freedom, yet the moment challenges arise, you go back to old habits and old excuses. The truth is not that your goals are too big. The truth is that your tolerance for discomfort is too small. Every extraordinary person you admire, every champion, every billionaire, every leader face the same doubts, fears, and obstacles you're dealing with right now. But the difference is simple. They decided they would rather fight for their dreams than surrender to their limitations. They understood that every struggle is a setup for a greater strength. Stop giving up so easy. When you feel like quitting, I want you to hear this loud and clear. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Regret is the heaviest burden a human can carry. It haunts you. It whispers, you could have done more. It shows up in those quiet moments when you can't distract yourself anymore, when you are alone with your thoughts. Regret will always remind you of the chances you didn't take, the goals you abandoned, the potential you buried. But here is the good news. Right now, today, you still have time. You can rewrite the story. You can decide that from this moment forward, quitting is no longer an option. You can decide that you'll work, you'll struggle, you'll fall, you'll get back up, but you will not break. When you stop giving up, the universe has no choice but to respond, maybe not instantly, maybe not on your timeline, but persistence forces progress. Think about a tree. For months, you water the soil and you see nothing, no sprout, no growth, no proof that anything is happening, but underground, the seed is growing powerful roots. If you stop watering too soon, you never see the harvest. That's what most people do with their dreams. They stop watering the soil of their own potential just before the miracle happens. Stop giving up so easy. You want to know the real reason people quit? It's not fear of failure. Failure is familiar. People quit because they fear success. Success requires change. Success demands identity transformation. To succeed, you must become someone new, disciplined, consistent, relentless. But many choose the comfort of who they are over the courage to become who they were meant to be. If you are tired, rest, but don't quit. If you feel overwhelmed, pause, but don't retreat. If you failed, learn, but don't surrender. Your future self is begging you to keep going. Nothing in your life will change until you change your relationship with discomfort. Everything you want is waiting on the other side of your excuses. Growth does not happen in comfort. Comfort is where dreams die. Comfort is where potential is buried. You weren't born to be average. You weren't born to be ordinary. You weren't born to just exist. You were born to conquer something. You were born to build something. You were born to be the proof that perseverance transforms lives. Stop giving up so easy. There will be moments when you wake up without motivation. Do it anyway. Discipline is greater than motivation. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a decision. Motivation fades. Discipline carries you when nothing else will. Every time you push yourself to keep going when you want to quit, you build a new identity. A person who does not run from difficulty. A person who keeps going even when the emotional fuel tank is empty. The more you push, the more powerful you become. You don't need more time. You don't need more talent. You don't need more luck. You need more persistence. Make a commitment to yourself right now that you will be stronger than your excuses. Stop allowing temporary emotion to make permanent decisions. There will be days when no one believes in you. Believe anyway. There will be days when you don't see results. Push anyway. There will be days when progress feels invisible. Continue anyway. Because you never know which moment, which action, which day will be the one that changes everything. Your dream does not need immediate results. It needs consistent effort. Stop giving up so easy. Every time you face adversity, understand this. Challenges are not walls designed to stop you. They are tests designed to reveal how badly you want something. Life wants to know, do you want this or are you just interested? People who are interested do what is convenient. People who are committed do whatever it takes. You must decide which one you are. There are two types of pain in life. The pain of staying where you are or the pain of growth. One keeps you stuck. The other sets you free. You may not be able to control how you start, but you can always control how you finish. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the next step. And then the next. Success isn't about being the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. Success belongs to the person who refuses to quit. Stop giving up so easy, because the moment you give up is the moment someone else picks up the opportunity you abandoned. While you're quitting, someone else is grinding. While you're doubting yourself, someone else is betting on themselves. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards performance. The world doesn't pay you for what you could do. It pays you for what you commit to doing. Stand tall, breathe deep, decide that you will leave no dream unexplored, no goal unattempted, no potential unused. Don't count yourself out before the world even has the chance to see what you're capable of. You are stronger than you think. You are tougher than you believe. You are capable of more than you ever imagined. Stop giving up so easy. Your future is waiting. Most people want success, but very few are willing to pay the price that success demands. They want the results, the transformation, the reward, but they don't want the discomfort, the grind, the repetition, the boredom of doing the same small action every day. Persistence over comfort is the dividing line between those who dream and those who achieve. Comfort protects your feelings. Persistence protects your future. Comfort keeps you safe. Persistence sets you free. Every time you choose persistence over comfort, you are casting a vote for your future self. The version of you that is stronger, wiser, more capable, more disciplined. There will be days when you don't feel motivated. There will be days when the process is not exciting. There will be days when you wake up tired, uninspired, and frustrated because your effort isn't producing visible results. And this is where most people disappear. They assume that because results aren't immediate, progress isn't happening. They stop because they don't see anything changing fast enough. But success is not instant. Success is not microwavable. Success is forged through relentless repetition, long before anyone sees proof. That's where persistence matters most. In the unseen, uncelebrated, unglamorous portions of your journey. Comfort whispers, you can do it later. Persistence replies, now. Comfort says, you're tired, rest. Persistence says, you didn't come this far to only come this far. Comfort keeps you trapped in the cycle of average, repeating the same year of life over and over. Persistence breaks the cycle and creates momentum. Every goal requires moments in which you must continue, even when the emotion that fueled the decision is gone. Dreams are easy to imagine, easy to talk about, easy to post on social media, but the work, the real work, is in the days when you don't want to do anything. On those days, comfort pulls you back to mediocrity. Persistence pulls you forward to possibility. Think of the gym. The first week feels exciting because it's new. By week 3, your body is sore and your mind starts negotiating. Maybe I'll skip today. One missed day won't matter, but missing one day makes the next missed day easier. And then a week passes, then 2, and before you know it, the excitement that got you started slips away. Your comfort has become your master, but persistence, that force inside you that doesn't care about feelings, is the one that gets results. The body doesn't transform because you worked out when you felt like it. It transforms because you worked out even when you didn't. That same principle applies to business, relationships, personal growth, anything that matters. Comfort wants what feels good in the moment. Persistence wants what produces the long-term reward. Comfort convinces you to quit early. Persistence refuses to stop. And here's something powerful. Persistence is not a personality trait. Persistence is a decision. You choose it moment by moment, action by action. You choose persistence every time you show up without excuses. Every person who ever achieved anything remarkable did not get there because they never felt like quitting. They got there because they did not listen to that feeling. Success is not the absence of doubt. Success is the refusal to surrender to doubt. People look at successful people and think they must be so motivated. No, they are disciplined. Motivation gave them the spark, but discipline kept the fire burning. Persistence is discipline in action. It is saying, I'm going to keep going regardless of how I feel. Because my feelings are temporary, but my future is permanent. Your current circumstances are not permanent. Your challenges are not permanent. But the moment you choose comfort over effort, you freeze your life in place. Comfort becomes the cage that looks like freedom. It gives you ease today and regret tomorrow. Persistence gives you struggle today and freedom tomorrow. Comfort always asks you to take the easier path. Persistence reminds you that the harder path leads to the life you desire. If you aim to become someone extraordinary, you must be willing to suffer through the ordinary steps it takes to get there. There are no shortcuts. There are no perfect conditions. There are no magic opportunities that suddenly fall into your lap. Opportunity reveals itself to the one who refuses to quit. Every breakthrough you want, financial, emotional, physical, spiritual, lies behind a door that only persistence can unlock. Comfort keeps you knocking. Persistence makes you kick the door down. You can't build strength without resistance. You can't build resilience without struggle. The comfort zone may feel safe, but it will never change you. Growth begins where comfort ends. There will be days when no one claps for you, when no one acknowledges your effort, when your progress is invisible. That is the moment persistence whispers, keep going. Your persistence is not for the applause. Your persistence is proof of who you are becoming. The challenge is not in doing the work. The challenge is in staying consistent. Most people are capable of starting something, but only a few are capable of continuing it. The life you want is expensive. You cannot buy it with excuses. You purchase it with consistency. You buy it with discipline. You earn it with persistence. Not once, not twice, but every single day. Your future self is watching. Your future self is waiting, and your future self will either thank you or resent you. The difference will be the choices you make today and the ones you make tomorrow and the ones you make the day after that. Comfort serves your emotions. Persistence serves your destiny. Comfort asks who you are right now. Persistence asks who you are willing to become. Every time you push when you don't want to, you strengthen your identity, the identity of a finisher, not a quitter, a builder, not a dreamer, a doer, not a talker. The world is full of talented people who never became anything because they chose comfort. But persistence beats talent when talent refuses to persist. The world doesn't reward potential. The world rewards persistence. Each time you show up, you reinforce a message to the universe. I'm serious about my dreams. And the universe makes space for the person who refuses to back down. Comfort destroys dreams quietly. Persistence builds dreams loudly. The person who keeps going eventually wins. Not because they were the smartest, not because they were the most skilled, but because they refused to quit. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort. They structure their days around convenience, routine, predictability. They chase ease and call it happiness, but deep down, they are starving for growth. They want change, but they don't want the uncomfortable process that leads to change. They want transformation, but they don't want to shed the habits, patterns, and behaviors that keep them exactly where they are. Discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the gateway. Every breakthrough you've ever wanted is guarded by the walls of discomfort. You cannot grow while staying comfortable. Growth requires disruption. It requires you to leave behind what feels safe and walk into the unknown without guarantees. When you chase comfort, you sacrifice growth. When you embrace discomfort, you unlock potential. Think about a muscle. You go to the gym, you grab a weight, and you push against resistance. At first, it feels unbearable. Your arms shake. Your body screams, everything in you wants to drop the weight and walk away. But what is happening in that exact moment? Growth, the muscle fibers are tearing so they can rebuild stronger. You are literally transforming through discomfort. Without resistance, there is no strength. Without struggle, there is no evolution. Life works the same way. Your discomfort is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're evolving. People say they want confidence, but confidence doesn't come from comfort. Confidence comes from surviving discomfort. The moment you step into a situation where you feel unprepared, nervous, or out of place, your mind grows new capacity. You build proof that you can do difficult things. Every time you choose discomfort over ease, your belief in yourself expands. Discomfort introduces you to your power. But society teaches the opposite. Society convinces you that comfort is the goal. Comfort food, comfortable jobs, comfortable habits, comfortable excuses disguised as logic. Comfort keeps you numb, stagnant, predictable. Comfort convinces you that you should wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect level of certainty before taking action. But perfection is a lie. Certainty is a lie. Waiting becomes a lifetime. People don't fail because success is impossible. People fail because comfort is seductive. You avoid discomfort by staying where you are, and exactly where you are becomes the cage you live in. You avoid difficult conversations, so relationships suffer. You avoid trying something new, so opportunities pass. You avoid taking action, so confidence never develops. You avoid risks, so you never discover your capabilities. When you avoid discomfort, you avoid your future. If you want a life you've never lived, you must be willing to do things you've never done, and that means stepping into discomfort intentionally. It means being willing to look foolish at the beginning. It means giving yourself permission to be terrible at something before you become great. People don't start because they're scared of being seen starting. They want to be impressive immediately. But greatness is always born from awkward beginnings. That's why so many dreams die before they even begin. People are unwilling to be uncomfortable in the early steps. No one becomes fit the moment they step into a gym. No one becomes wealthy the moment they start a business. No one becomes wise by reading a single book. Everything meaningful requires discomfort, consistent discomfort. The difference between the person who succeeds and the person who stays stuck is simple. One chooses discomfort voluntarily, the other avoids it at all costs. When you avoid discomfort, you live a life of low-level pain, the kind that sneaks up on you slowly, the pain of regret, the pain of wasted time, the pain of unrealized potential. That pain lasts forever. But when you embrace discomfort, you experience short-term pain that leads to long-term fulfillment, the pain of growth, the pain of discipline, the pain of overcoming yourself. That pain shapes you into someone powerful. You may think discomfort is a signal to stop, but more often discomfort is a signal to keep going. It means you are stepping beyond your limits. It means you are breaking patterns. It means you are entering territory that your old self has never gone. Your old identity will fight to pull you back into comfort. It will try to protect the version of you that no longer exists. Growth requires identity death. The version of you that wants change must be stronger than the version of you that wants comfort. You cannot carry your future while clinging to the habits of your past. Think about every moment of transformation in your life. The first time you spoke in front of a crowd, the first time you stood up for yourself, the first time you took a risk. What did it feel like? Terrifying, uncomfortable, uncertain. Yet those moments shaped you. They expanded you. They became turning points. Every breakthrough in your life was born from discomfort. There will be moments when you feel lost, moments where you feel like you're not good enough, moments when you doubt yourself. In those moments, discomfort isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's your future calling you to rise. Discomfort builds character, endurance, mental toughness, emotional courage. It shapes your vision. It refines your mindset. It strengthens your discipline. You grow every time you choose what's right over what's easy. Discomfort builds the kind of person who can carry success. Success is not just about achieving a goal. It's about becoming the type of person who won't crumble when you get there. Comfort is the illusion of safety. Discomfort is the gateway to greatness. When you train your mind to lean into discomfort rather than run from it, everything changes. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop letting feelings dictate your actions. You stop waiting for motivation because you finally understand motivation comes and goes, but growth requires commitment. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel confident. You don't need to feel fearless. You just need to step into discomfort. The moment you stop avoiding discomfort is the moment your life begins to expand. You become the kind of person who doesn't quit when things get hard. You become the person who does the uncomfortable work while everyone else is looking for shortcuts. And while others settle, you rise. While others watch, you move. While others dream, you build. Every time you choose discomfort, you level up. Most people say they want change, success, or transformation. They say they're committed. They talk about big dreams and bold visions. They talk about how much they want financial freedom, better health, more confidence, a stronger mindset. They say they want to improve their life. But when it comes time to take action, to face resistance, to deal with discomfort, to push through challenges, their behavior reveals the truth. They are not committed. They are just interested. There is a massive difference between being interested and being committed. Interested people do what is convenient. Committed people do what is necessary. Interested people act based on how they feel. Committed people act based on who they are and who they want to become. Interested people need motivation. Committed people rely on discipline. Interest is emotional. Commitment is identity. When you are interested, you act only when conditions are perfect. You wait for inspiration, for energy, for the right mood. You want the path to be clear and the steps to be comfortable. But when you are committed, you show up regardless of how you feel. You don't negotiate with your emotions. You don't wait for confidence. You don't wait for certainty. You move anyway. You execute anyway. You build momentum anyway. Commitment is not about feeling ready. Commitment is about deciding that failure is not going to make you quit. It means that your word means something to you. It means you keep promises to yourself, even when no one is watching. Most people fail, not because their goal was impossible, but because their commitment was weak. They fall in love with the idea of success, not the process required to achieve it. They like the dream, but they don't love the discipline. They want the reward, but they refuse the requirement. When you are committed, you become unstoppable. When you are merely interested, you become inconsistent. Interest says, I'll try. Commitment says, I will. Interest says, I'll do it if I feel like it. Commitment says, I'll do it even when I don't feel like it. Think about relationships. Anyone can say, I love you when things are easy, but commitment shows up when things are messy, challenging, uncomfortable. The same applies to your goals. Anyone can start, anyone can get excited, anyone can plan. But commitment is what keeps you going when your excitement fades, and when the plan gets difficult, you cannot achieve great things with a casual mindset. Champions don't rise because they're talented. Champions rise because they're committed. They don't allow their emotions to dictate their actions. They don't allow excuses to become their identity. They don't give themselves the option to quit. They don't wait for permission. They don't negotiate with their goals. Everything changes in your life the moment you stop giving yourself the option to quit. When you are committed, you become resourceful. You don't say, I can't. You say, how can I? You don't look for escape routes. You look for solutions. You don't seek comfort. You seek results. Commitment turns obstacles into opportunities. Where others see difficulty, you see possibility. Where others see inconvenience, you see growth. Commitment creates a new level of power within you. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your character. It builds your confidence through action and results, not hopes and wishes. When you are committed, you start to trust yourself, and when you trust yourself, you become dangerous, not to other people, but to your old patterns, excuses, and limitations. A committed person is a different species. They don't depend on external validation. They don't need applause. They don't need approval. Their drive comes from within, from their vision, from their purpose. They don't care if others understand. They don't care if others doubt. Their commitment becomes their quiet rebellion. But here is the part most people miss. Commitment is uncomfortable. Commitment demands sacrifice. Commitment asks for your time, your energy, your effort. It asks you to say no to distractions, no to instant gratification, no to excuses. It forces you to face your weaknesses, your fears, your insecurities. It forces you to stretch yourself. It forces you to grow. Interest allows you to stay the same. Commitment forces you to evolve. Everyone wants transformation. Very few are willing to go through the transition. Commitment means doing the boring repetition that success requires. It means waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It means saying no to distractions when you'd rather relax. It means choosing long-term fulfillment over temporary pleasure. It means showing up on the days when it's hard. Every extraordinary result comes from consistent, ordinary actions executed long enough without giving up. People are so obsessed with the big moment that they forget success is built through small daily wins. Commitment is not loud. It's not glamorous. It's not dramatic. It's quiet, steady, relentless. It's making the right choices over and over again. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your commitment. The greatest version of yourself is waiting. But that version will not appear just because you say you want change. It appears when you prove you're willing to do the work. It appears when you show consistency. It appears when your actions match your words. Every time you stick to your commitment, you cast a vote for the future you're building. Someone who is committed does not hope for results. They create them. They understand that consistency compounds, effort compounds, discipline compounds, and time rewards the person who refuses to quit. Commitment turns average people into exceptional achievers. Talent is great, but talent without commitment is wasted potential. Most people underestimate how close they are to their breakthrough. They quit inches away from the finish line because discomfort tricked them into believing progress wasn't happening. Commitment keeps you moving when your feelings try to stop you. Commitment keeps you consistent while your excuses scream for comfort. Commitment keeps you locked into your purpose, not your mood. The moment you choose commitment, everything in your life changes. You stop waiting for confidence, and you build confidence. You stop waiting for the right moment, and you create the moment. You stop hoping, and you start becoming. Your commitment becomes your foundation. Your actions become your proof. Your results become your reality. You cannot reach a new level of life while staying the same person. Every dream you have requires a version of you that doesn't exist yet. You don't get the goal first and then change. You must change first to earn the goal. Identity shapes behavior, and behavior creates results. If your identity doesn't evolve, your results never will. People try to change their life with the same habits, beliefs, routines, and mindset that created the life they currently have. They want massive transformation but refuse internal transformation. They want success without sacrifice, confidence without courage, growth without discomfort. They want to remain who they are while demanding a life that requires a stronger, more resilient version. Life does not bend for who you currently are. It bends to who you are willing to become. The success you want is not waiting on the world. It is waiting on your identity to catch up. Every time you pursue growth, your old identity will resist. Your old habits will try to pull you back into comfort. Your old thoughts will whisper that change is too difficult, too unrealistic, too risky. The reason change feels hard isn't because you lack potential. It's because you are fighting your former self. Changing your identity is not just changing what you do, it's changing what you believe about yourself. If your identity is I quit when things get hard, then no discipline system will save you. If your identity is I am bad at committing, then your mind will look for proof to validate that belief. If your identity is I'm not meant for success, then every setback will reinforce the lie you already believe. The world reflects back to you who you believe you are. Identity is powerful because humans are wired to act consistently with the story they tell themselves. If you believe you are someone who always struggles, you will subconsciously sabotage progress when life starts improving. If you believe you are someone who doesn't follow through, quitting will feel normal. If you believe you don't deserve success, you will push opportunities away before they even unfold. You will always return to the level of your identity. That's why people who suddenly make money often lose it. Their identity never evolved to match the new result. They still think like someone who struggles financially. They haven't become the person who knows how to manage and multiply wealth. That's why people lose weight and gain it back. Their body changed, but their identity didn't. They still see themselves as someone who struggles with discipline, someone who doesn't belong in a gym, someone who isn't healthy by nature. The mind eventually brings the body back to the identity it knows. Your life follows your identity. You cannot act like the old you while asking life to give you something new. Growth requires identity death. The person you've been must die so the person you are meant to become can live. It requires honesty. It requires humility. It requires courage to admit that the version of you that got you here cannot get you there. You must become someone who keeps promises to themselves, shows up without excuses, acts based on commitment, not emotion, chooses discipline over comfort, does the uncomfortable work consistently. Identity shifts the moment you decide to become this person, not when the results show up. The most powerful transformation happens internally long before anyone sees any external change. Success is rooted in identity, watered with habits and harvested by time. Becoming the next version of yourself is not about motivation. It's about alignment. It's about ensuring your behaviors align with the future you want, not the past you've lived in. Ask yourself, what does the version of me who achieved my goals do daily? What would that version say yes to? What would that version say no to? How would that version handle difficulty? How would that version show up today? Identity determines consistency. When you identify as someone disciplined, you act disciplined, even without motivation. When you identify as someone committed, you no longer leave cracks for your excuses to slip through. When you identify as someone destined for success, you stop accepting average choices. The shift happens when you stop trying and start becoming. Instead of saying, I want to be confident, say, I am becoming someone who speaks with confidence. Instead of saying, I want to get healthy, say, I am someone who values my health. Instead of saying, I will try to be disciplined, say, I am disciplined. Language shapes identity. Identity shapes action. Action shapes destiny. Change what you call yourself and your behaviors will follow. You cannot earn a new life with the same internal story. You must rewrite the narrative. You must build a new self-image based on intentional repetition and consistent action. Every day you show up, you tell your mind, this is who I am now. Your brain will believe whatever you repeatedly do. Identity is a loop created through action. You act, your brain takes note, your identity updates based on action. When you quit, your mind records the identity of someone who gives up. When you push through discomfort, your mind records the identity of someone unstoppable. Identity is built through evidence. Each time you show up, you collect proof that this is who you are becoming. Consistency doesn't just create results. Consistency creates identity. Your habits become your character. Your repetition becomes your transformation. Your choices become your new reality. The future version of you is not waiting for talent. It is waiting for consistency. It is waiting for identity alignment. Growth happens the moment you stop asking, what do I need to do? And start asking, who do I need to become? The future you want you to. Wake up with purpose. Create momentum instead of waiting for it. Do the uncomfortable tasks you've been avoiding. Stop allowing fear to dictate your decisions. Every decision you make either feeds your future or your limitations. Every choice either reinforces the old identity or strengthens the new one. There is no neutral decision. You are always becoming someone. The question is, who? You already know the answer. Deep inside, your spirit knows the identity you are meant to grow into. The real you, the disciplined, powerful, resilient, committed you is already inside. It's not about adding something new. It's about peeling away everything that isn't you. The excuses, the self-doubt, the fear, the hesitation. These are layers covering the real you. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to who you were always meant to be. Most people quit right before their breakthrough. They walk away when the finish line is just around the corner. They stop trying when results are finally building momentum. And the tragic part is they never know how close they were. They quit on the last rep, the final mile, the final push, the final attempt that would have changed everything. Not because they couldn't do it, but because they convinced themselves that nothing was happening. Breakthroughs happen slowly, then suddenly. Progress is invisible until it becomes undeniable. Growth works underground before it becomes visible above the surface. Just like a seed buried in the soil, everything is happening before anything is seen. The moment you feel like quitting is often the moment progress is silently being made, but people give up because their emotions convince them otherwise. They mistake slow progress for no progress. They assume that because they can't see the results yet, nothing is changing. But the truth is, the work you put in is always accumulating, even when it feels pointless. Your effort builds pressure, and eventually the pressure has no choice but to break into results. The problem is most people will never experience that release because they walk away before that tipping point. Every goal you have in life has a threshold. There is a point where your consistent actions, discipline, and struggle compound into a breakthrough. But you don't get to choose when that breakthrough arrives. You only choose to keep showing up until it does. The people who succeed are not the most talented, the most gifted, or the most privileged. They are the ones who refuse to stop. They kept throwing punches until the wall cracked. They kept pushing the boulder uphill until momentum took over. You might be closer than you think. You might be one habit away, one adjustment away, one attempt away, but you will never know if you stop now. Imagine two people digging side by side in search of water. One gives up after days of digging, tired and frustrated. The other continues. 2 feet deeper, water bursts from the ground. The difference between failure and breakthrough was not where they were digging. It was who kept digging longer. That's life. Some give up at 98%, never realizing that persistence for 2% more would have changed everything. You don't get rewarded for the work you did. You get rewarded for the work you didn't quit. Breakthroughs don't announce themselves. They don't warn you that you're close. They don't send signs. They don't whisper, keep going, you're almost there. They stay invisible until consistency forces them into reality. That's why you must keep going even when nothing seems to be working, especially when nothing seems to be working. The struggle before the breakthrough is always the hardest phase. Not because the goal is impossible, but because growth requires endurance. Life tests you to see how bad you really want it. It wants to know whether you're interested or committed, whether you'll fold under pressure or rise above it. Most people quit not because they lack ability, but because they lack patience. They want results faster than they're willing to grow. They want to skip the struggle and jump to the success. They want the prize without the process. But growth doesn't happen on your timeline. Progress does not care about your expectations. The breakthrough arrives only when you've become the person capable of holding it. Sometimes the delay isn't punishment, it's preparation. You are being shaped by every challenge, every setback, every test. You're not waiting for the breakthrough. The breakthrough is waiting for you to grow into someone who won't lose it once it arrives. That's why you can't quit. Every time you keep going, you become stronger. Every time you persist, you build resilience. Every time you push past doubt, you develop grit. That grit is what carries you through the final stretch. Think of bamboo. You water it daily, yet nothing grows above ground for years. No leaves, no trunk, no visible sign of life. People laugh at the effort. They think it's pointless. They think it's failure. But underground roots are expanding deeper and stronger. Then suddenly, almost overnight, bamboo shoots up to 80 or 90 feet. The rapid growth happens only because of the unseen foundation that was being built for years. If someone stopped watering too soon, they would never see the explosion of growth. Your dream is the bamboo. Your daily effort is the watering. You don't see anything yet because the foundation is forming. Discipline is forming. Mental toughness is forming. Self-belief is forming. The underground work must happen before success can rise. The results you want are being built in silence. And one day, they'll explode into reality. But only for the people who don't stop too soon. The hardest part of success is not the action. It's the patience. It's the persistence. It's the willingness to show up without applause, without validation, without instant results. It's choosing faith over evidence. It's doing the work without knowing when the reward will come. And that is why so few ever reach what they are capable of. They don't stop because it's impossible. They stop because it's inconvenient. They don't stop because they lack strength. They stop because they lack endurance. Breakthroughs are not found in sudden bursts of inspiration. Breakthroughs come from relentless consistency. When you decide you're not quitting, that's when you become dangerous. When you eliminate the option to give up, your mind finds solutions instead of excuses. You stop searching for the exit and start searching for the strategy. The moment quitting is off the table, progress becomes inevitable. You must build the mindset that says, I don't care how long this takes. I don't care how uncomfortable it gets. Quitting is not an option. Once you adopt that identity, success has no choice but to reveal itself to you. The only way to guarantee failure is to give up. The only way to guarantee progress is to persist. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. You don't need massive changes. You need consistent effort. You don't need to speed up. You need to stop quitting. Breakthroughs don't happen for those who start. Breakthroughs happen for those who finish.